大家好，歡迎收睇住加男人，我係 Wingo。我哋好高興可以訪問到亞省副省長兼技工及專業部部長 Kaycee Madu。喺呢個訪問入邊，副省長會同我哋傾下亞省未來嘅發展同埋對人才嘅渴求㗎。如果你係亞省人，又或者考慮搬去亞省定居，你就一定要聽下副省長有啲乜嘢講啦。
Thank you, Deputy Premier Kaycee Madu, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Wingo.
Yes.
Good to have you in my office, and I'm excited for this interview this morning.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to ask, representing the Hong Kong community in Canada, I would like to ask, why should new immigrants from Hong Kong choose to stay and settle in Alberta?
You know, Wingo, that is a terrific question. You know, Alberta has been home to immigrants for centuries. Immigrants build a magnificent province. Alberta is the land of opportunity, and they've left us with the most prosperous province and land in all of Canada, the wealthiest province in this country, the most innovators, entrepreneurs. Immigrants come here, they bring vitality, they bring investment, they bring talent, and they help us build the community and our economy. It is critically important that Alberta continues to attract world-class immigrants from all over the world, especially from Asia and from Hong Kong.
Is there a plan or policy for speeding up international healthcare workers to get their qualifications recognized and gain permanent residency in Alberta?
Absolutely. You know, this has been a priority for Premier Smith on day one. If we learned anything from COVID, it is that we didn't have enough healthcare capacity, enough healthcare human resources. So Premier Smith made that a priority. In her mandate letters to 4 cabinet ministers, she tasked us to make sure that we facilitate the fastest process to attract healthcare workers, foreign-trained healthcare workers, as well as healthcare workers who are in this country and in Alberta who are having difficulty getting into their chosen career. So that work is underway. In fact, in October, we signed a memorandum with the government of Philippines to attract Filipino healthcare workers to Alberta, and for Alberta to work with the government of Philippines to also train healthcare workers in the Philippines so that when they come here, they easily get to work. We are looking to expand that memorandum of understanding with other countries like Hong Kong, like India, Nigeria, and some other countries as well, where they have enough manpower in the healthcare sector that we can attract, because this place, we need them, and we have the best public healthcare system in the world. We want to make sure that we have the workers that we need.
So why does the government want more people from other provinces to move to Alberta?
Because we have the strongest economy right now in this country. We hear from business owners, employers every day that they need more people. You know, we are investing in our post-secondary institutions. We are investing in our colleges. We are spending hundreds of millions of dollars training new workers in our province. But we also know that we are going to need more people than we can train here in Alberta. We are going to need to make sure that we have the workers that the employers need, and not just the right amount of workers, but the right skills also. And that is why we invested more than $600 million in work skill programs, Alberta Jobs Now program, Alberta at Work program. Minister Nicolaides, the Minister of Advanced Education, has been making a series of terrific announcements, increasing seats in key sectors of our economy in various post-secondary institutions, When I was Minister of Labor, we were announcing all kinds of grant programs, investment, partnership with employers to make sure that they are training the workers they need today and tomorrow.
Can you tell me why is Alberta economy doing so well?
Alberta economy is doing so well because that is, as a government, we pay very serious attention to the fundamentals of the economy. As a conservative government, we don't joke with our economy because we know that ultimately we have to have a functional economy that works for everyone. We make sure that we reduce red tape, we get out of the way, we clear the way for businesses and entrepreneurs to do what they know how to do best. And we fight for our industries, the oil and gas sector, the film and tech sector, and the agricultural sector, the commodity sector, all the tourism sector. All of these sectors are critically important in helping us have the strongest economy in the country. I will add one more thing, and we work so hard as a government to ensure that we have a balanced budget, to ensure that we have a healthy surplus. What that does to an economy is it sends a signal to investors that Alberta is doing well and that Alberta is open for business. And that is why you are seeing billions of dollars in investment pour into our province.
You mentioned about tourism. Can you tell us about Alberta's plans for being a tech hub, increasing international flights in and out, and boosting tourism?
We have great landmarks across our province. We want the world to see the beauty of our province. That is why we have made investment in the tourism sector. If you remember, as a government, we put in place the Innovation Employment Grant that encourages growth by supporting small to medium-sized business that invest in research and development with a grant of up to 20% of qualifying expenditures. The second, if you remember also, we attracted the biggest movie ever to be shot in Canadian history, right here in Alberta, Last of Us, that was shot in communities and towns across our province. And I am happy to report that that movie is being well received across the board, to the point where HBO has now committed to the second season of that particular movie. That tells you that there is so much opportunity and so much hope for the movie industry and the tourism sector in our province.
I have to think about moving here. I'm from Vancouver, actually.
You are from Vancouver?
Yes.
Come on. Come on. Listen, haven't you heard the advert, Alberta is calling?
I heard.
That is attracting a lot of people from Vancouver. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to find out the number. The Statistics Canada reported that there were over 28,000 people from British Columbia that moved to Alberta. And so hopefully after this interview, you go back to Vancouver, pack your bag, and we're going to have you right here in Alberta, because this is where it's happening. This is where the jobs are. Yeah. This is where the opportunities are. It's a beautiful province, and anything is possible here.
I'm from the creative industry, so I guess I'll get a lot of support here then.
There's no question about that. We have my colleagues in government, all of whom are working together as one government to make sure that the tourism sector, the film industry, and the hospitality industry are doing well in our province. So a lot of support and more to come.
Next question, you mentioned about there were over 28,000 British Columbians moved to Alberta, a 20 years high. Many say that it was because of high cost of living in BC. Yeah, and then but the data also show that the number of people moving from Alberta to BC remains higher, which is over 29,000 people. So do you know the reason why for that?
So you have to ask yourself, who are the people moving from BC to Alberta and who are the people moving from Alberta to BC. And I can tell you that if you are looking for job, if you are looking for economic opportunity, if you are looking for a place to, if you're an entrepreneur looking for a place to invest, this is the place. Those are the people that we see that move from BC to Alberta. We know that it can be a bit cold here in Alberta compared to BC. So we see a lot of people from Alberta, when they want to retire, they head to BC because the climate there is a little bit better than that for Alberta in terms of the weather, in cold, rainy season and stuff like that. A lot of younger people, working class population, entrepreneurs moving to Alberta, but then the older population want to move to BC. That is the difference between Alberta and BC. But overall, we need more people to come to Alberta to contribute to our economy, and this is a place that is meant for everyone. Well, we have the youngest population in this country. That is why we, I don't know if you know this, Wingo, but in this country, the reason why Alberta contributes more to the federal treasury, I think by my last account, we send about $20 billion to the federal government than we receive. So if you factor how much money comes from the federal government to Alberta and how much money goes from Alberta to the federal government, the net difference is $20 billion that goes to the federal government. Part of the reason for that is because we have a very young, active, working population. And the second reason for that is we have the strongest economy in this country. The third point is that, we have higher income bracket because of the strength of our workforce, the strength of our economy. People make more money in Alberta than they make anywhere else. And our energy sector has been a major contributor to that. We continue to have that edge, economic edge, over the rest of the country. If you go to alberta.ca, it has all kinds of information, numbers, email address, sector by sector, department by department. We have people in various ministries that provide services to people who are looking for information.
How are you going to help Albertans in this inflation situations currently that we are facing?
Yeah, that is a very important question, Wingo. Albertans are going through hard times right now because of inflationary costs, high cost of living. Premier Smith acted on day one. We rolled out a record $2.8 billion in inflation reduction programs. Most Alberta families would receive $600 in all for the next 6 months. We eliminated the fuel tax. I think we are the only province in this country that have entirely removed the fuel tax. That is 13 cents per liter of fuel that anyone buys in Alberta. That's huge. That runs in the billions of dollars that we are saving Albertans that otherwise would have gone into the provincial treasury. We are reducing costs on electricity. We have capped the price of natural gas because that's what most of us here in Alberta use to heat our homes. We've capped that at $6.50 per gigajoule, so that in the winter season, if it goes above $6.50, no one will see an increase in their natural gas bill. In times of difficulty, their government must step in to help them.
Let's talk about climate change. So how is the Alberta government helping oil and gas industry to decarbonize? And how is the development of reusable energy industry in Alberta?
You know, a very important question, and I'm glad you used the word decarbonize, because that's what we believe in. You know, we believe that technology is going to be the solution to the climate change issues that we face. We don't believe, let me be clear, we don't believe that we should destroy our oil and gas sector like the NDP and the federal government wants to phase out the most significant sector of the Canadian economy. I think that would be a mistake, and I don't think anyone in Alberta should allow that to happen. You know, we live at a time when the federal government is talking about a just transition. They want to transition Alberta workers out of the most important sector of the Alberta economy, a sector that has contributed more than $600 billion to the Federation account, a sector that has created wealth for hundreds of thousands of Canadians across the board. I don't think anyone in this province will understand the importance of that sector to our economy will allow that. You know, we are working with industry to make sure that they have the latest technology. That is why Alberta was the one of the earliest provinces in this country to set up the TIA Fund. The TIA Fund is a fund whereby the large commercial emitters in our province pay money to that particular fund, and in return that fund is reinvested in technology that will help them decarbonize, that will help them reduce the footprint of their emissions so that it is good for the environment, good for business, and good for workers. That is why also Alberta is leading in the carbon capture and utilization storage projects. We believe that that is the way forward. That is why the capital region is the first and the biggest hydrogen hub in this country. Hydrogen is projected to be a $12 trillion industry. No right-minded government at the subnational level or at the national level should miss out a $12 trillion investment. So we are going to make sure that Alberta is well positioned, and I'm glad that the Edmonton region, Edmonton Global, the provincial government, all of us are working together to make sure that we don't miss out on this investment. So to answer your question, the solution to decarbonization, climate change, emissions reduction lies in technology.
So how about reusable energy industry? Can you mention more about that part?
We are investing in green technology. We are investing in new minerals, in lithium, in mining. We are encouraging new investments in renewable energy. We believe that the solution is actually all of the above. You know, whether it's wind, solar, oil and gas, nuclear, you name it. Those are going to be the future. And so my approach and the approach of the Alberta government is that we need to make investment in all key sectors of the energy industry.
Okay, so I finished all the questions here, but I have one more question. Because Nikki mentioned that you work really hard on getting minority equal opportunities in Alberta. Can you tell us about your work about this?
Yeah, you know, Wingo, that is work that is important to me. As you can tell, whilst I am humbled and privileged to have been the first ethno-cultural Black Attorney General in Canadian history, I am also very humbled to be the first black deputy premier in Canadian history. If I'm not mistaken, I might be the first ethno-cultural deputy premier in Canadian history. And so I am mindful of the work of those who came before us. All of us have similar experiences. We confront all kinds of difficulties and racism and discrimination. And it is important that people like myself who have come this far, not just because we work hard, but because of the people that came before us that cleared the path, should never forget that that work continues. So it is important for me to continue to see people from ethno-cultural communities, minority communities, find opportunity. When we do, let's also not forget that we have to be good ambassadors. We have to represent them well so that that door doesn't get closed. We've just cracked that door a little bit. We want to widen that door and ultimately make sure that more people like you and I get through that particular system and help us build a community, a society, a province, and country that all of us can be proud of. That is why that work is important to me, and I'm happy to be playing a small part in making that progress.
Okay, so thank you very much for today's interview.
Thank you, Wingo.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you for coming to my office.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
聽完亞省副省長呢個訪問之後，大家可以再睇下呢條片。卡加里超低生活成本搶人口，亞省叫緊你。政策成功叫走多倫多人遷徙。喺呢條片入邊咧，阿 Sam 會用好多嘅數據咧，同你講下點解咁多人會搬去亞省居住嘅喎。